So I just thought I'd come down to Callan Park, as the Kirkbride Centre here. I'm going to go and have a little scope and have a look at where we might put a BMX track, and maybe a pump track, just because there's been a lot of talk about it. Bit of a saga down at Mort Bay Park over lockdown with the kids making their own improvised bike jump as kids will, and the council having to knock it down. So, we're just down here, Mort Bay, and I was walking back here from pestering people at Orange Grove Market. There's a bunch of kids, pirate buccaneer kids, doing their thing, remaking this. Here's the dreaded mound, the great saga of Mort Bay illicit BMX thing, BMX jump. The kids, there's a dozen of them out there doing the shovel thing, and here it is. So that's all they want. It's a bit of dead land here, right? It's tucked up in a corner, pretty innocuous, and the kids have just been making this jump. And the council has to come and keep knocking it down, and the kids keep making it. Now, the way I see it, sorry about the red face, too much sun, this is the sort of perfect thing that we can look at, try to figure out a solution, and try to find a place for a proper BMX track for the boys. So there's no reason why we can't put a bike track down here. There's 60 friggin' rugby fields, right? Hardly anyone uses it. Anyway, let's go for an explore. So this is the top of North Avenue, right? So this is what snakes down towards Waterfront Drive, which is what they're going to close down under the landscape management plan, which they've just finalised the last 12 months or so. They want to try and reduce traffic and get more diverse use going. So that's a really good thing. Now this, from memory, is a little track. It's a walking track, right? This goes down through steep country. Now you could this would be the top end, say, of a BMX bike track, right? Get some engineering work in here. You'd have to be, I mean, just check this out. You put proper buttressing, you get some experts in, see if we could raise a bit of coin, put little jumps coming down here, keep it all natural. I mean, the thing about people who are super keen about biking, and I'm sort of just not really, but happy to go for a bike ride, but the keen sports bikers, they just know how to do this stuff. They know how to look after the environment. They know how to sort of incorporate Aboriginal heritage concerns, safety, good user etiquette. They train the kids well on how to be responsible bike riders. That's the whole point of clubs like this. Okay, so here we are. This is just, I'll just do a pan. Dead space. When I say dead, I'm not having a go at people who love solitude. You could be lateral. You could do things like have hours of operation. You could have rest days. You'd have obviously really close monitoring of the impact it's having on soil and vegetation, if there's any ecological impact. Up above the waterfront, King George Ovals, and look, I mean, there's heaps you could do here. It's a bit of a log. Everybody knows this track, I'm sure, but it's unused ground, which to me would be beautiful. Like, you could make a really, really good track here. Wouldn't have to be huge. So looking down through there, that's the main Georgie Ovals. So we're going to keep going along here, and that's coming back towards North Crescent, not Avenue, it's North Crescent. All down there, and I know there's ecologically sensitive bits and pieces. There's steep jumping areas, there's turnarounds, there's, I'm sure, stuff that would get both BMX engineer type track constructors and also local kids going off their clock. Probably room, there might even be room down on the flat down there for a pump track. Okay. And this is North Crescent, where it snakes around. So it's sort of dead land down there that's not really got a use. And again, you'd have to really work closely with friends of Callan Park and the ecology and environment officers if there are issues, and also heritage stuff. In fact, I'll just go down the steps here. So there might be some areas, in fact, so they're restoring native vegetation. So like I said before, it doesn't have to be incompatible. So the bush Bush Care is one of those great groups around Balmain and the peninsula that does a shit ton of really good work and never gets much credit and never gets, you know, he sort of goes on under the radar. So the volunteers are saying just tread carefully. Well, I reckon if we were smart, we could do it so that you would tread carefully. Again, if you make a club and you provide the users with a really, really good asset, a public asset, they will reciprocate. They will take responsibility and they'll police it. They'll make sure their members do the right thing. That's the great thing about not-for-profit clubs or community clubs. Yeah, there we go, King Georgie. So you can see it's sort of absolutely compatible, and it fits in with the landscape plan of wanting more diverse use, right? We want to encourage users here, and the more people that use it, the more people will get behind the desire overall to save the park. It's all very well to want to save it, but you've got to figure out how you're going to save it. So I reckon something like this would be really good, and there's obviously a huge hunger for it, particularly from our kids, and it sort of fits in with what I was saying about let's put a school in up at Kirkbride. Let's just show the next generations a manifest commitment coming out of COVID that we don't want it to be all about us anymore. We want it to be about the future generations. I mean, that's like a political slogan, isn't it? But we can actually show, not tell. Because that kind of self-starting initiative from kids is like gold dust, but there's also a really good opportunity for us, without getting too touchy-feely, for a great practical civics lesson, a great way of showing the kids that community isn't just a one-way street, because there are legitimate worries and issues with doing it this way. I disapprove, but not really. But it's like, if we want our kids to believe in, this is getting mushy, but politics and democracy and agency and all that stuff, well, we don't want to kill this sort of sentiment, I think. I reckon there's a smart way we can go about it. Or anyway, I'll chuck it out there.